Well, Nissan's had the year from hell, guys. Their CEO has been forcibly removed, and they are in a position financially where they have to hope that someone will bail them out. As a result, they've shut down several factories and they've cancelled what I think was the most important factory for the future of the company. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Nissan have just done what I think we all probably expected. Made another bad decision yet again. The reason I say it's a bad decision is because, all right, you might have heard that Nissan is scrapping its plan. It's already invested a whole bunch of money, but it's not going to go ahead with its $1 billion battery factory in the United States. And when you first hear this news, you probably think, well, they don't have the money, fair enough. But here's the thing. This was going to be a lithium iron phosphate battery facility in Japan. Lithium iron phosphate. This would have been a huge game changer. It would have enabled Nissan to make electric cars and have lithium iron phosphate batteries that would have made the cost of those EVs potentially competitive with Chinese brands. I mean, really probably not quite at that same real competitive price, but it still would have given them a good opportunity to do that. Nissan's just not competitive with their electric cars worldwide right now. And the idea here with these lithium iron phosphate batteries was that that would change things. Now, Nissan is scrambling to turn the company around. They've decided to fire just under 10,000 people, shutting several factories, consolidating, the stuff you do when you know you're in trouble. And the automaker announced on Friday that it will abandon plans to build a new plant in Japan that was going to produce lithium iron phosphate batteries. The decision is coming as Nissan is considering all options to restore its performance to avoid bankruptcy. And it's saying it will continue working on a strategy for EV batteries aligned with market needs as part of its turnaround efforts. Most likely what Nissan will do instead is get batteries from Chinese battery manufacturers instead of making lithium iron phosphate batteries that it would have licensed themselves. Basically, Nissan would have licensed this technology, and producing them themselves, they thought they could make them cheaper. Now, Nissan has received approval to build a new EV battery plant in Japan from the Ministry of Economy and Trade in September. So it wasn't long ago they actually applied for this. They obviously did a lot of work to get this through. But then what happens as a result of Nissan cancelling this plan is they forego $400 million in government support. The government had said, you know what, we want you to build a battery supply chain. We're going to give you $400 million. And as a result of this, Nissan's like, no thanks. We don't have the money. That's what the truth is, what Nissan is saying. We can't afford it. And it's valid. I mean, there's three major ratings agencies around the world who rate companies on how well they're doing. Nissan is rated at junk, but the biggest ratings agency, you might say Fitch, they just downgraded Nissan from junk to double junk. Double junk. So, yeah, I can't understand why anyone would be invested in this company. It's bizarre to me. Like other Japanese automakers, Nissan is facing weaker sales in its key markets, China and North America, particularly the United States. The company expects to post a net loss of $5.2 billion for the year ending March 2025. And considering really what's about to be an even more difficult year this year, with Trump tariffs affecting the company enormously in the United States and Chinese car makers continuing to take more and more market share from legacy automakers in China, Nissan's two biggest car markets, China and America, will be battered and hit even more. The new lithium iron phosphate plant was expected to help Nissan cut EV battery costs by 20 to 30% with up to 5 gigawatt hours of annual production capacity. And later this year, Nissan will launch its next generation Nissan Leaf in the United States and Canada. But the question is, how much will that be taxed or tariffed? 25%? Well, no one really knows. We do know, though, that Nissan's saying the new Leaf will have big range improvements. But let's be honest here, guys. I mean, it's not really going to be competitive on price, I don't think. Nissan really isn't. The EVs aren't bad, but they're just not selling because they're not competitive. Nissan is saying that they will have solid state batteries. Well, they initially said 2026. Now they've been quiet about that. It sounds like they've changed their minds to 2027 or 2028. I think that's a Hail Mary. I don't believe that they have that technology. If they do, well, great. It might help save the company. But at this point in time, the only way to save Nissan is not canceling a battery factory that they need. It's not shutting down factories in China that will actually build cars much cheaper than their other car factories. It's really just getting someone to bail them out with a lot of money. The question is who and why? Why would they do it, and who's going to do it? Guys, what are your thoughts? Do you have any suggestions? Let us know in the comments. Nissan just warned investors it will lose around $5.3 billion this year, its biggest loss in 90 years, ever. Fitch has already shoved the company deeper into junk status. It's now considered junk status by every major ratings agency across the planet, and merger talks with Honda have completely collapsed. Could Nissan become the first major Japanese automaker to go bankrupt in the modern era? Well, let's break it down. On April the 24th, Nissan revised its forecast from a manageable 80 billion net loss, that's 80 billion yen, by the way, to a staggering 750 billion. In other words, they're planning on losing 7 times more than what they told investors. 7 times more. I have frequently warned investors to get away from Nissan. I've said Nissan are not telling you the truth. This company has some major structural flaws and people haven't been listening. The red ink comes largely from a 500 billion yen impairment charge on plants and equipment across North America, Europe, Latin America, and Japan, plus another 60 billion yen for ongoing restructuring. Just, Here's the thing. Those impairments don't just reduce profits. They wipe billions off Nissan's balance sheet, pushing the company closer to negative equity, the point where liabilities exceed assets. That's bankruptcy territory in Japan, and it's not far away. A Nissan executive recently said it could actually happen. A $60 billion merger with Honda could have created scale, but talks blew up in February when Honda insisted Nissan become a subsidiary without a partner. Nissan admits it will struggle to survive alone. Honda essentially said, we don't want your basket case of a company unless we're fully in charge. And Honda basically said, Nissan, we don't want your basket case of a company unless we're fully in charge. And Nissan said, no, we don't want that. US sales, though, have plunged 26% in a decade. Infiniti down 45%, while Chinese competition guts margins at home. Dealers say their profitability is the worst in 15 years. While rivals are flooding the market with profitable hybrids, Nissan bet big on pure EVs early and then underinvested after Carlos Ghosn was chased out of Japan. The Nissan Leaf, it's getting old. Nissan Ariya volumes are minuscule, as in it's barely selling, and the company still has no dedicated global skateboard platform.